High Canada Magazine presents a what-if story. What if someone pushed too far? What if someone else decided enough was enough? What if the people that High Canada Magazine wanted to expose simply did not want to be exposed? What if he said too much? What if indeed? What if his counterculture style of media making and cannabis journalism finally got him into trouble he couldn't get out of? Imagine this scenario plays out. On December 10th, 2025, High Canada Magazine founder and editor-in-chief finishes editing a video and posts it unlisted on YouTube. He also sends a few copies out via WeTransfer to ensure it made it out. This is our video, then he disappears. His friends at the farm he was staying at do not file a missing persons report on him. They think he was away visiting a friend, that is, until that friend called looking for him. By early 2026, no one had seen or heard from him. His children and family are notified. His van is discovered on a side street. He has traveled always with a small dog, but neither of them been seen in weeks. Then, in January, a body is found. The following media post is released. Police are investigating a man's death after a body was found floating on Lake Ontario, just east of the Burlington Pier. Police have identified the deceased as a 57-year-old man. Was this Cy Williams? Was this Cy Williams, who was a man on a mission? He wanted to expose the crime, coercion, and insider manipulation that set off the legalization of cannabis in Canada in 2018 by Justin Trudeau's Liberal Party. Cy had been making videos for months, teasing that he was going to expose. His cell phones, his computers, his written projects have not been recovered. It's like he has disappeared without a trace. What happened to this man? And was this video a chilling warning, predicting exactly how he would disappear and who would be responsible? Judge for yourself. Were these paranoid delusions, or was he correct and knew it was coming all along? You decide. December 10th, 2025. Cy's last video. Muppet today. I feel today's daily log. I feel like I'm gonna die. So I hear I'm missing. It's true. I have stepped away on sabbatical. I've been on sabbatical a couple months. I've stepped away from meetings, Zoom calls, appointments, interviews. I've stepped away from just about every aspect of my company. We were almost bankrupt in the summer. We had no money left. And yeah, I still have issue 100, so if you're one of my advertisers or one of the people I'm doing a story on in issue 100, be patient, relax, it's coming. But I always knew the magazine would break me. That it was too big a monster, it was too big a beast, that I created something too large to maintain. I knew that there was an exercise of futility, trying to create unity, culture, connection, in the face of monumental greed and stupidity. I knew this. I did not think that I would be broke and starving at the end of it. So if you happen to see me camped out at a tent city or hitting people up for change for a freaking cup of coffee, don't be surprised. This is what happens. You know, at any time, any one of us is one bad day, one bad week, one missed paycheck from losing our housing. And this was the year that I discovered that. And it's made me a better person. I've discovered that comfort does not equal happiness. And I've made the important discovery that truth is mercurial, and it really only exists in this small space between what the opposite sides are saying. I never thought I would see our culture stolen and prostituted out. I never thought that average people like myself would get priced out, forced out, character assassinated. I was an optimist, a happy optimistic person who celebrated the people behind the plant. And now I am burnt out, I'm broke, I'm hungry, I'm cold. And I feel like the last 12 years of my life have been an absolute waste. Beep, bop, boop, right? What did I really do? I celebrated job creation and entrepreneurial vision. I celebrated people who had dreams, aspirations of making their lives better. I celebrated this plant that gave me my life back when I needed to have my life given back to me. And I pledged everything I had to make this happen. I moved mountains, moved heavens, earth. I received awards. Received accolades from the Prime Minister. I have spoken and advised government policy, governmental levels of policy. I have been in planning and advisory groups for some of the major cannabis events and things happening within the cannabis field. I have celebrated cultivators, business people, women within our sector, niche positions within our sector. I have become an expert in genetics, tissue culture, seeds, HVAC, and racking systems, and mediums, soil, cocoa, whatever, hydroponics, nutrient systems, organic soil, everything from squid juice to biobucks. I am well versed in clones. I have basically just done a PhD in the cannabis sector. 12 years, every issue I learned more and more and more. You don't think I retained some of that? It's not the cannabis plant that I'm disappointed in. I served the cannabis plant faithfully for 12 years. The cannabis plant gave me my life back when I thought it was over. And I pledged service to that plant and to my community, to breaking stigma, to building something new. Like all of us, we wanted to be a part of something new and exciting that we believed in, that we felt had the potential to change the world, to cure the sick, to repair damaged souls, to do so much. And look where we are. This is our cannabis sector. At the end of 2025, we are a fucking joke. It's run by big corporate entities, good people who worked in the cannabis sector in various positions can't get work now. People who invested their life savings and their time and their effort into trying to build something new and wonderful. Only had it squashed by the biggest mob out there. Liberals didn't want the bikers taking that money. They didn't want cultivators taking that money. They didn't want Canadians taking that money. They didn't want Canadians to be able to grow and enjoy their own cannabis. They want Canadians to be stupid and to buy into the corporate model, and they want to restrict people who don't have the money or the backing, and they want to restrict them from participating. We have lost the respect for our legacy people who have fought so hard to get us where we are now. The government has become the biggest mob out there. There are some amazing people that I've had the opportunity to celebrate during my time with High Canada. Audrey Wong is the CEO of Zyre, hardest working woman I know, most passionate about cannabis that I know. Julie from, I know Delpho, who were from the Collectors Cup. Some of the smartest, most passionate people I know. So many growers, so many businessmen, so many talented people that this sector has eaten, chewed up, and spit out. Now, have you been in the sector for 12, 10, 8 years? Are you disillusioned? Have you been fucked over? Have people not paid you? Has government restrictions and overtaxation and overregulation harmed your business? Of course it has. So, what are you going to do? You're going to take it lying down? You're going to let the federal government continue to destroy and occupy our culture and to make money hand over fist off our culture? $1.5 billion in taxation last year. And it goes into a slush fund, and the country is just as bad as it was pre-legalization, if not worse. More homeless encampments, unaffordable housing, unaffordable food, unaffordable renting conditions, cost prohibitive to even get into the game to become a cannabis retailer. You know, I hear stories out there, some scum-sucking lawyers who are charging $15K for an RSA. That's your application for your retail, I think it's retail service agreement. They find ways to take money off you so that you will never be able to expand, you will never get into R&D, you will never be able to succeed because you got to pay Big Brother what they're owed. The worst part is that we knew in 2017 that these liberal political insiders were doing it to make themselves filthy rich and didn't give a shit about medical, they didn't give a shit about the plant, they didn't give a shit about the people. We saw corporate cannabis come in, take over, steep learning curve to figure out how to grow and dominate the industry. And every time a good craft grower appears, it's too problematic. There are too many hurdles. So, like, I have mad respect for people like Great Garden Farms or Kevin Varner, Royal Harvest, or Great White North out in Quebec. Just so many amazing cultivators in Canada. We grow some of the world's best weed. We are the #1 supplier of cannabis internationally from East Canada Pearson Farms. We have a thriving indigenous market. Cannabis should have been the game changer, the place where we hit a higher peak of elevation, where we provided and created new jobs for Canadians and new ways for them, people to feed their families and become involved. And we allowed the federal government to bastardize it, to corrupt it, and to inevitably take it from us. I'm not proud of this. I'm ashamed that we allowed this to happen. I am saddened for all my friends who lost their shirts and more trying to participate in this sector. It's like immensely the bro culture that dominates our field, the misogynistic attitudes towards women within our sector, the absolute lack of any giving back whatsoever, aside from a few clothing drives and the odd animal sanctuary recycling program. I don't see you recycling those halide bulbs. I often will tour a facility and be amazed at the money line, I like to call it. How many salaries will I see before I see a plant? You know, this isn't the cannabis industry that I fought for. I didn't expect to be bankrupt, broke, bum, 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 and just disillusioned at the end of my cannabis publishing career. You know, I've had people out there call me like a creative genius and the driving force behind culture in Canada, and we're the true celebrators of Canadian cannabis culture, and they forced me out. The industry, the greed, the lack of payment, the lack of sincerity when it comes to payment. I have $120,000 in bad debt from reputable companies who refuse to pay me. We have other major companies who come to me with their hands out like beggars, begging for content, begging for coverage. I remember fighting with Mike Tyson's manager, who demanded I give Mike a cover and a 16-page feature. And it should be my honor to do this for free because it's Mike Tyson. But Mike Tyson alone doesn't pay the bills, doesn't pay the web registrations or the costs for emails or salaries or honorariums or photographers or printing or anything. There must have been this misconception that I was some wacky, independently wealthy guy who was funding all of this because, you know, we had lots of great parties and lots of great things, and I was always so active and our magazine was always out there. And to know that I am destitute after this boggles my mind. That I am broke, bankrupt, hungry, and cold. If I was a lesser person, I'd probably put a bullet in my head, because what's the frickin' point, right? I was feeling this way during the summer, and the spring actually. And I prayed hard. I prayed to God, and I asked God, please send me a way to make it through this period of my life, to not let me become homeless, to not let me starve, to not let my sweet little Bailey suffer, for me to keep doing good work. And the very next day, a friend of mine showed up, and he brought me 500 clones. He was going to destroy them. But he's like, Si, you know what? You grow. You know what? Would you like these? I had 10 minutes to decide. So I took a sabbatical, stepped away from the magazine, and I'm a good grower. I've learned at the Feed Masters. Many of my friends are magnificent growers. I've read Ed Rosenthal's Cannabis Bible like so many times. I've watched every video on cannabis cultivation out there. I have learned about analytics testing, HVAC, retail, packaging, QA. There are so many sides to our sector, so many restrictions. It saddens me that I'm at the end of my cannabis career and that I am this resentful and that our sector is this broken, that so many people have lost their shirts or more trying to participate in this exciting new sector. It breaks my heart that women have not been treated with the right respect or dignity. It breaks my heart to know that there are so many creepers out there still preying and grooming young women within the cannabis sector. One of the hardest things I had to do was fill the shoes of editor-in-chief of a cannabis magazine, when the last editor-in-chief was a well-known pervert and creep and groomer. And, you know, those are not shoes you want to fill. I have worked diligently to respect the people I work with, to respect the women within our sector, to celebrate them, to celebrate entrepreneurship and job creation, to celebrate the amazing things that cannabis has done for us, and the amazing people who have really gone out of their way to make a difference. From Jerry Martin, the philanthropist of Saskatchewan and the founder of the harm reduction truck, sadly died of an overdose. We miss him dearly. Sam Malachi, who was continually calling out crime and coercion within the Canadian cannabis government space. Please stand by while I bitch viciously about the cold. I'm going to freeze to death out here. Woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, so cold I couldn't feel my toes. Frantically put on the stove. It's only 17. I'm working my fucking ass off, my fingers to the bone. I have given up food, comfort, warmth, company, connection. I have sacrificed so much for the last 6 months. Because, honestly, I was at the end of my rope. And if I hadn't had this opportunity to start growing, or go back to growing, I don't know where I'd be. I'm very blessed and grateful for the harvest that I've pulled in. But I know I still have lots of time. Before I cash out on that, I've never been prouder of the product I've grown. I'm very, very proud. You know, I'm a connoisseur myself, judge of many cannabis conventions and cannabis competitions. There's one thing I do know, it's cannabis, how to grade it, how to taste it, how to assess it, how it should look and smell and be presented. I'm a Virgo, so my attention to detail is high. I planted them all by hand. I hand watered them all summer in a place that had no irrigation. Built some muscles up. I trimmed, I pruned, I used every technique I've learned from all the growers I know to maximize my yield. And I am so proud of the yield that I pulled in. I am. But I feel like I'm going to die. That sucks. Please pause for station identification. I'm so angry at the things that are happening to the vulnerable people around me, to women and children in my circles. I'm tired of this continually happening. You know, I have 6 sisters. 6. And my dad raised me and my sisters to look after each other, and he specifically put a lot of responsibility on me to look out for my sisters and my nieces and the women in my life, and to be a good man. And I'm so sick of these fucking people who are not good men, who are taking advantage of good women. Tired of seeing my friends and teammates sexually harassed. I'm tired of fucking men in positions of power using that against women and children. I'm tired of hearing about fucking rape gangs and this cultural shift and cultural war. I'm sick of hearing that women and children, boys, are being human trafficked in Canada. I'm sick of seeing the poor be so poor, and so many homeless camps and tent cities and just disenfranchised people. And it's not all drug addicts, it's seniors, students, and freaking working people too. I'm watching our country disintegrate while our country pulls in more and more and more taxation. You know, the government pulled in $1.5 billion in taxation last year. Threw it into a slush fund. You think with this revenue increase they have every year that we'd start seeing some improvement, that we'd start seeing some social equity, some housing addressed. And now, the way it is in our world, it's impossible to get a decent apartment. The term professional tenant is being slopped around by landlord associations and landlord groups like it's a crime to try to seek shelter. Like it's a crime to try to be fed. What happens when the hungry and disenfranchised say enough is fucking enough, and we decide to take back our fucking country and away from these politicians who want to take away our faith, outlaw our faith, who are doing nothing to stop the fentanyl crisis, who are letting people die in the streets around the country, who let seniors die horrible deaths in nursing homes around the country, our government who that carelessly and maybe very thoughtfully gave out CERB checks to our most disenfranchised people out there without any guidance. And I was working frontline in BC, Surrey and Langley with cannabis substitution programs, and I was witness to a mass casualty event. We had 60 people, like 25 in Surrey, 35 maybe in Langley, about 60 people total. And the first CERB check came, and about 15 of them overdosed and died. Then the second CERB check came, probably another 20. Another CERB check came, and there were none of them left. None of them. And these people were trying so hard just to live and to cope. And some of them were switching over from hard drugs, hard narcotics to cannabis. They were finding hope and purpose and meaning. And how many people like that died around Canada because the government wanted to save some money on social assistance and care and addictions counseling. What the worst part was? That the week after the last overdose of my original groups, there were 60 new faces there at these meeting spots to try the cannabis substitution program. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't watch them die like that. You become friends with people, you talk to them, you learn about their lives, you watch all these people freaking just die. I've never gotten over it. It haunts me. It haunts me at night. I see their faces. I relive conversations I've had with people. You never know that you're falling down until you hit the ground. You feel the concrete skin your cheeks and your palms and your elbows. And I realized recently that I have been falling down for some time. Sometime, about 4 years ago, I hit a pebble. And the pebble made me trip. And that started a slow, maddeningly crazy descent as I lost my balance and lost my way, lost my taste for wine, lost my taste for my community, lost the pride I had for the work I'd done as an advocate and activist. Now, I'm shamed that if I were to die tomorrow, this is what I'm known for, not my art, not my kindness, not my advocacy, not my social justice work, but legalizing cannabis, legalizing weed, celebrating people getting high. So, over the last couple of years, as I have been falling, I've been learning some real valuable lessons. Comfort is not happiness, number one. The truth is a sticky, tricky thing, and it can be found somewhere between opposing opinions. I've learned that sometimes people surprise you, and sometimes when you expect to be alone and just fade out of existence, God will put someone in your path that doesn't allow you to go and do that. I hear this voice in my head sometimes and it tells me, fuck, that I should just kill myself, that I have no future, that I have no retirement, that I am broke, I'm 57, I have a bankrupt company, that, you know what, I would just be better off.
And if you feel this way, call 988-FREE on your cell phone.
I try my best to ignore it. And hurts my heart that it's got to be this hard. Hurts my heart that my friends are suffering. And you know what? And they're all suffering too. Here's a case in point. I went to Harvest last year music festival. Had a great time. Met 7 women. Got 7 phone numbers. And over the course of the year, from September to September, each one of those 7 women texted me about wanting to harm themselves, wanting to kill themselves. And I wasn't emotionally equipped for that. I'm not emotionally equipped to be a rock for 7 women. One woman in particular, she's like, either you come save me or just fuck right off. And it's like, geez, woman, I can barely save myself. The world is a dark place these days. And it's easy to get caught up in that darkness. I remember to play, create, and paint. I have a lot of great works inside of me still. A lot of ideas I want to explore. I can and will not let it end like this. I've cut its revenue sources. I've cut its informational feeds. I'm cutting the website shortly. You know, we had 1,100,000 views on our YouTube channel. Major accomplishment. Putting that to sleep as well. I'm going to reinvent where we are and what we do and what I do and what kind of difference I make. Hopefully with this new Deep Culture magazine that I've been working diligently to try to lay the foundations for, make some real change out there in the world. I have a criminal record. I'm unemployable. I am a counterculture advocate, activist, and leader. I have a CSIS file probably inches thick.
Please note that we are not involved in organized crime, and a large number of people who may or not be living this lifestyle see cannabis, and more specifically the hemp and CBD side of our sector, as an opportunity to both legitimize and quite literally an opportunity to turn over a new leaf. Second chances are a heck of a thing, and if I know absolutely nothing else, and nothing else counts, I always know in my heart of hearts that cannabis can and will give you that opportunity. It really is what you do with that opportunity that counts. So please don't pull me in for any more questioning. Your coffee is horrible, and I find your overall lack of faith in humanity very disturbing.
I associate with the bikers, every type of biker, you name it, to Sinaloa cartel, Vietnamese, Ukrainian, Russian mob, Russian gangs, Sri Lankan gangs, East Indian gangs.
Just to be perfectly clear here, we have encountered more alleged organized crime figures over my 12-year run than I can possibly list here. This happens because of the unique circumstances that allow people whom 20 years ago were considered to be criminals and outlaws and now are celebrated and legitimized. I applaud anyone looking to cannabis for a second chance. I really do. I will always listen and do what I can to assist anyone willing to put in the work and consider it as an alternative to addiction or a life of crime or anything else that is dragging you down. I believe in the power of second chances, and so does the spirit of cannabis. So don't read more into this than that. And hey, if you pull me in for questioning, I'm going to deny absolutely everything and chirp you on how terrible your coffee is. Honestly, go do something. Fix your coffee machine. And I refuse to be picked up again for questioning until you do this, okay?
And indigenous groups across the land. I have been blindfolded, well, more like had a sack put over my head and helicoptered into illegal grows that had snipers who were prepared to shoot me if I stepped out of line. I have thought I was going to be murdered in Edmonton over the misunderstanding that I might have been involved in like ripping off a company. But, you know, I cover a lot of companies. Because I cover a story doesn't mean I'm actively involved with them. Do you know what? I have like $120,000 in uncollectible debt from the cannabis sector. A lot of you just didn't want to pay me. Didn't want to pay for the advertising, didn't put any value on the services that we gave you, even though month after month after month I would receive emails and text messages begging us to give you coverage. And we're talking these big boys too.
A little more self-censorship here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
These monster places. You know, Radiant hurt me the most. A whole year worth of advertising for 4 different companies, 2 in a room. Radiant, with always the promise to pay. And they left the biggest debt of all. And that one really hurt me. Hurt the magazine, hurt our bottom line, because we were really depending on that money. It's amazing how many people that you know have screwed High Canada magazine out of what it is owed, because we have been in service to our community. My son Xander used to say, Dad, people love High Canada. They love what you do. But they also know that you are quick to give them something for free if they can't afford it because you believe in the culture, you believe in the plant, and that is going to be your downfall. Fuck, wasn't he right? Lost the taste for wine. I don't want to be the voice of cannabis anymore, but I want to be the voice of change. I want to do more good, real good, not like this bullshit stuff of legalizing a recreational drug and turning it into a religion. That's not what I'm about. I want to make a significant difference, and I'm going to find a way. I am. But get out of this rut I'm in. I'm not going to freeze to death out here. I never thought that I would be 57, that this business that I spent 12 years building would suddenly be bankrupt and broke, and I would have no revenue at all, that I would have to fast all the time because I can't afford money for food, that I can't afford to do fucking anything. I can't afford to keep High Canada going. We got a couple offers in to purchase us, but they just want to purchase us to shut us down, take our data. Fuck that. You know what? I would rather destroy it all and bury it than sell it for data, to monetize it in that way, to turn it into that sort of thing. It's not why I did it. I believe unjust laws are meant to be broken. I believe that good people need to be celebrated, and I believe that we need to take care of our seniors and our most vulnerable. I believe that we should be looking out for our seniors, and that we need to be addressing this homeless problem in Canada, that we need to be addressing the drug crisis in Canada, a number of overdoses. Now fentanyl is being mixed with something else, the naloxone kits don't work in. I'm tired of my friends dying. People like Jerry Martin, Samalachi, who were fighting a good fight, just gone. I'm tired of being threatened every time I say I'm going to call out bad behavior in our sector. I'm tired of all you fucking pussies who won't fight your fights for yourself, who won't vet people, who won't take accountability for your own actions, and then expect a not-for-profit group like mine to fight your battles for you. One of the biggest reasons we have a delay with our heroes and villains issue, because the cannabis industry is full of fucking bitches who don't know how to fight their own fights, don't know how to vet people, and don't know how to self-police and keep their own shops and setups clean and free of these types of people. I used to always say that Canada was made up of a million big fish in little ponds, and that every time I travel I see it, and there's nothing worse than dealing with a big fish in a little pond, because they think they have power but they don't, and nobody in our sector gives back. Okay, not nobody. Purple Hills, they give back with the recycling box in their horse sanctuary and animal sanctuary. Who else? Some of the companies that sponsor events, that's not really giving back. I know Amy Anonymous does a clothing drive. But, they do it in BC too. At least some people are attempting to do something. But we can do more. I used to say, if you're not in service to your community, then why not? And now I know. Because they will starve you out. They will take everything from you and leave you a rotten, hollow shell full of bitter disappointment and resentment. It's not the kind of person I want to be. I'm not the same person I was 3 months ago, 6 months ago. A big part of my heart and drive and passion for High Canada Magazine died the night of my last party, when I was set up a party, Green Tie Gala, to celebrate these last 10 years. I put myself thousands and thousands of dollars in debt to host a celebration. I was the only staff who showed up, so I didn't even get to enjoy the party. I'd spent weeks handcrafting these amazing awards for the CCTA Cannabis Tourism Awards. And as I was overwhelmed and bringing the awards to a stage, and I put them down on the stage and quickly said a few words, and then it started to rain. Then hours later, when I was cleaning up the stage area, and I found the awards that I'd spent weeks, overnights working on, building and making for these amazing groups that I felt deserved to be really treated right, and they were trampled. The glass shattered. They were broken beyond repair. The total disregard that these trophies, these awards had, they meant nothing to anybody.
I no longer take this personally.
Went home. Really hurt me to see that my creations had been trampled and stomped on, to realize that I was trying to have a fundraiser for the future. I wound up putting myself so far in debt and I was already in debt, that I fucking couldn't do it. I'm tired of people like the I still get like a call a week on what a creep this guy is. I'm tired of creeps in our sector. You know, maybe if I wasn't so concerned about calling out bad behavior, maybe I would have had a better go. Maybe if I didn't scream blue murder about like people like Joe Summer and his vigilante hunts against legacy, or the bad behavior of people who are sending dick pics to my team or offering them better paid positions within the cannabis sector for a blowjob, or, you know, there's so many. I have a list of so many bad people in this sector, and you know what? I was going to publish it. I was going to publish my villains list, and I have some good villains, some really like evil fucking monsters out there in the cannabis space. And I was going to out a number of politicians who made themselves filthy fucking rich off cannabis legalization. All political insiders took the liberal government. My assistant editor committed suicide year 3. She brought me this story in 2017, a year before legalization. Meticulously researched. And for those of you who knew Emmy, you knew she was her investigative reporter, and she was good at it. So Emmy brought me this story in 2017, and it was entitled Ontario, Canadian political insiders who are set to become filthy rich on the upcoming legalization. It listed 24 names and what they were doing and how they were going to make themselves filthy rich over legalization.
This is a note to any possible political insiders that suddenly feel nervous here. If you feel your testicles suddenly pull back inside your greedy, self-serving bodies after hearing this, please know I have absolutely no faith in you. And to ensure this article listed 24 people is not accidentally lost or burnt up in a tragic fire or car bombing or tragic data wipe. I have taken an overkill approach and made certain that no physical copies are with me ever, and that every one of my most trusted advisors have sealed copies just in case. Well, in case you get any funny ideas. Nothing like the fear of taking accountability to hasten bad decision making. You know what I mean? Just covering my own ass here.
When Emmy presented it to me, I'm like, Emmy, we're 3 years old. We're Counterculture magazine. We haven't even won legalization yet. I don't think we're big enough to go after these big dogs. There are some big names on this list. Big names. Emmy was found hung in her apartment a couple months later, a little bit after lift. I've had people call me to tell me that she was murdered and tell me the person who murdered her. And the world is a shitty fucking place. I wonder now if they just wanted to shut her the fuck up because she was standing in the way of all these people and their dollar. I've seen the cannabis sector destroy people, destroy relationships. And I put High Canada Magazine first for so many years over relationships, over my own life. I worked 80 hours, 100 hours. I would become overwhelmed. I would be communicating with hundreds of people at any given time. And it burned me out. I got so burnt out with the sheer volume of communication, the expectations placed on me, always to do stuff for free, always to consult the government for free, to consult this group for free, to provide advertising or coverage. And it used to make me laugh to see all these PR companies who are getting paid to do a job for these licensed producers, but they're still coming to me with, like beggars with their hands out begging for free coverage. The amount of favors and careers that High Canada Magazine has built, the amount of money High Canada Magazine has made for people out there, without taking our piece and holding up the people behind the plant, and really holding up the entrepreneurs and the amazing businesses that we were lucky enough to interview. And for as many success stories there are twice as many failures, twice as many disillusioned people, bitter, resentful people who lost their fucking life savings, their dream. Do you remember when Cannabis Culture Lounge sold franchises around Canada only to have them shut down the day they opened? Do you know how many hard-working people lost their life savings and their dream that day because Cannabis Culture took their money and didn't warn them that this was going to happen? And I was at a dinner party in Vancouver with some elite people in the cannabis sector internationally in Canada. And the man who was behind the franchises was at that dinner. Didn't he spend half the dinner bragging about how much fucking money he made? I knew some of the people who bought franchises, who lost their life savings, who lost their shot at entrepreneurship, who lost their dream because of other people's greed. You're in the cannabis sector. How many times have you seen greed? Bad people really fuck up a good thing. How many times were you expected to work for free within this sector, watching the government take $1.5 billion from the sector? Have you enjoyed passing our culture over to the government and letting them become the biggest mob, the biggest piece, having them restrict growers and cultivators and tax them and use them as a cash cow? Have you enjoyed seeing the price of cannabis rise and have you enjoyed seeing so many companies fail and fall on their asses and go bankrupt? Have you enjoyed the show? Because it has been a fucking shit show. So, no, I'm not missing. I'm actually doing something. It has nothing to do with Canada. And I'm happy to be stepping away. And I'm happy to be away from the Canadian international cannabis space. Because y'all need to grow up. And you need to stop being naive. And you need to start placing value on people's services. There will never be a media in Canada if we cannot pay for media. If every company has an AI-driven media division, what need do we really have for cannabis media? Should we have Stratcan and Grow Up still around? There's a couple podcasts. High Times is back. But what happened to building culture? We're not about that anymore. Do you think the Fair and Summer Fair are about building culture? They're not. They're like corporate events designed to build brand loyalty. I'm very saddened by this turn of events in my life to see my dream, the dream that I've worked so hard for, that I've sacrificed love, life, light. I've sacrificed everything to normalize cannabis and to celebrate it and to transition it into the legal market. And I see now I was wrong. I should have fought for legacy. I fight for legacy now. I fight for legacy. I fight for sovereign cannabis. I fight for the little guy. If I wanted to become a grower, just me, probably cost me about $230,000 to get into the game as a microcultivator for all the licensing, fees, insurance, security protocols, everything I need to do it by the book. And I would probably be able to grow maybe a couple hundred plants, and I'd barely break even if I made any money at all that first year. It's cost prohibitive for me to grow cannabis legally. So, you know what I did? I broke the law. Willingly, knowingly, I found myself 500 clones. I found a place to grow 500 clones, 4 different strains. I spent the summer planting, hand watering, pruning, deleafing, loving these plants. I harvested on my own. I've done the processing on my own. I have grown so much of the most amazing weed that I've ever seen. I'm a connoisseur, and not to blow smoke up my own ass, but I've never grown better weed. Good percentages, a high sativa, a heavy indica dominant, sativa dominant, and I'm really proud of this. But you know what? I broke the law. I could be arrested for trafficking. I could be arrested for a lot of different things. But I want to make a point. I want to make a point that it is too cost prohibitive for even somebody like me, who's considered like the mayor of Cannabis Town, to get into the cannabis game. Now, I have a criminal record. I can't own a store. I'm pretty sure I can't get a security check. I don't have the money for the licensing. I am, right now, to become a legal cannabis grower, you're going to lose money, and it is a rich man's or woman's game. Let's be honest, it's a rich man's game. It's a pro culture. Power to all the women out there who have been struggling, striving, fighting for the glass ceiling and fighting discrimination. And they're out there. There's some women who've done really, really well within our sector, who are heroes and inspirations. Ann Barnes, one of the founders of Peace Naturals, one of the smartest women I know. Alana Davies, Dabble, and one of the smartest women I know. Unity Marguerite. Tara and Sonia from Violet Wild. Jody Emery. Brittany Guthier. and Julie Stevens. There's so many amazing women within our sector. And they are all fighting this glass ceiling. They're fighting bro culture, and they're fighting discrimination, and it's fucking sickening too. I'm not seeing our sector get better. I'm seeing the sector slowly shrivel up and die as our culture is slowly erased and turned into this corporate mockery of what it once was. Makes me sad. So, no, I'm not missing. I'm doing some stuff. And I'm hoping you would like to support me in what I'm doing. I am selling the cannabis that I've grown. I'll be selling it around the country for the next couple of months. I'm starting another Canada-wide tour. And it is perfectly cured, well dried. It is honestly some of the best cannabis that I've seen. I'm really proud of myself. It turns out that if you write about the cannabis sector and cultivation for 12 years and study at the feet of masters for 12 years and tour hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of facilities, that you learn something. I learned a lot. I've never grown this many. I've grown handfuls, grown 100 here, or 20 here, or 50 here. But never have I grown this many, or this quality. So, I hope you can support me in my special edition size selects. Let me know, send me a DM. We have size Wi-Fi password, which is a very strong sativa, make you want to clean your kitchen and your garage. We have a very strong indica dominant Jerry's Inferno, and it is so strong that I smoked half a joint and then stared at the curtain for 4 hours. Mind and body shut down. I actually like to be a little more active, so I don't really like that one very much. I have sativa dominant, this ain't Hollywood, and I have an indica dominant, very terpy, hairy berry actually. And then I also have Harry's Yeti Balls, which is this sativa hybrid that I encountered that I'm so fond of, and it looks like furry white balls. I'm pretty impressed with it. Would love you to try what I've produced organically. I've used organic soil. I treated these plants like gold, and it really showed. I had some 15-foot plants out there, donkey dick buds, and I have been consistently testing as I trim, endlessly trim, and nothing but impressed. And if you would have asked me if I would have thought that I would be going back into the legacy market, that I would be forced to essentially break more laws and embrace a criminal lifestyle because the legal sector has priced me out and forced me out of that game, I probably wouldn't have been surprised. Break unjust laws. And if you want to arrest me for my illicitly grown cannabis, my tested and clean genetics that did not cost me $200K to get into the game with, you want to call me a criminal for doing that? You go ahead. You want to put me in jail for doing that? You go ahead. I will fight this. I will fight this. It's bad enough the government and their marketing restrictions cut my throat when it came to ad revenue and did everything they could in their power to character assassinate all of our leaders, and it's bad enough. But yeah, Canadian government, you left me no choice. Do I starve? Do I go join a tent encampment? Do I fade away to obscurity and shuffle away in failure? Or do I take the lessons I've learned and say, fuck this, I'm not taking it anymore. Grow some of the best weed that I can possibly grow. Showcase that weed like it's supposed to be showcased as great craft cannabis grown by a great Canadian craft grower. I've been growing for most of my life. There's a reason why I have High Cannabis Magazine. I have learned at the feet of masters, of some of the best cannabis growers in the world. I've learned tricks and tips. I know about everything from HVAC to LEDs and heating exchanges to nutrient systems and hydroponics and irrigation and trimming and curing and processing hashes and oils and pre-rolls. Oh my.
Special note to licensed producers, stop thinking people are stupid.
Why should I be priced out of the game because I'm not a corporate businessman with $200K to blow? I'm not getting into a business where I know that I'm going to go into debt my first year when I've done everything that I needed to do for probably under $3,000, and I have 100 pounds of cannabis now, and some of the best cannabis that I've ever grown. Am I going to let the government dictate, price me out of industry that I helped forge and found because their policies prevented me from making enough money to enter the game properly? Am I going to run away because I got ripped off countless times by countless scumbags out there in the sector who refuse to pay for services? And yeah, I know you got your own costs, and it's super expensive to operate in the cannabis sector, and companies are dropping like flies because they just don't have the money. It's all being taken by the biggest mob of all. I worry that the people I'm exposing within the Ontario government, these political insiders, that they're going to come for me. And they probably will. To be honest, I'm surprised they haven't killed me already. I'm calling out a lot of big names, and if I ever do go missing, at least you know who killed me. It was the people on this list. And I wish these people weren't so freaking greedy. And I wish our sector wasn't so freaking naive. And I wish I hadn't fought so fucking hard for cannabis legalization. So yeah, not taking calls, not taking emails. I'm on sabbatical. High Canada issue 100 will come out when it comes out. And I'll see you on the road out there. Maybe we can smoke a joint together. Take care, okay?